Hey listeners, before we get started, I wanted to share with you a brand new podcast that you might be interested in. It's the new Braves Dugout podcast. This podcast is about all things Atlanta Braves baseball. They talk about roster moves, potential trades, game recaps. Now this may all seem cliche for a sports podcast, but they also include a special segment each week where they talk about controversial topics using only stats and logic and no bias. Controversial topics such as which Braves player should or should not be in the Hall of Fame, why your favorite player may not be as valuable as you think they are, or how certain players you may not like deserve more love. It's the new Braves Dugout podcast. You can currently catch this podcast, see what I did there? Catch this podcast on Spotify or on Anchor.fm. It's sure to be a hit!
Did social distancing and quarantining give you the blues? Has every day been one of those days where you just want to get dressed in wedding attire and plop down into a nice cool empty bathtub with your favorite liqueur? Don't you worry. Brandy's Brandy is there for you. It's a grappa brandy with just a hint of Applejack.
Dad, this is delicious. What is it?
It's perfect for the whole family, that's what it is. And if you enjoy a good brandy sour or brandy Alexander, then the Brandy Angel recipe under the label on the back of the bottle will be perfect for you. Brandy's Brandy. It's so sweet and never dry, you should give it a try.
Hello everybody, and welcome to another mini episode of the Above Average Joe Show. Today we have a very special guest who's worked with me on quite a few projects, and her name is Brandy Angel. Brandy, how are you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
I am doing good. It's been a good morning so far, so I cannot complain.
Same.
Let's go ahead and start from where we met. And we'll just kind of walk through a lot of the different projects that you've worked on, because I know you've got a lot of different stories that you could tell us. But the very first project I know that where we actually physically met was on Stepsisters.
Yep. I literally have always done acting. I mean, I was Goldilocks in kindergarten and Mary in the Christmas play. And, I was a theater kid, and I was in drama club. And I just worked on my bucket list at this time period. Don't ask me why, but anyway. And one of the things was I wanted to be an extra on a movie. And by the way, the other one is that I want a line in a movie. So we're still working on that one.
We'll get there.
So I looked up the Facebook page and started following it. And within a week, you guys posted something about wanting nonprofits for a fundraiser. And I was like, what? That's awesome. As you know, I have a nonprofit foundation. So I wrote in, and Justin called me immediately. And I ended up talking to him for an hour. And then Jamie calls back immediately, and we talk for an hour, and we end up best friends. And then I meet you guys on Stepsister, and that's where it all began.
And that was the day that we dressed up in pink, which we've already shown that on our Instagram. Yeah, you did photos for us, because on Wednesdays we wear pink.
Cool. We can be friends. Yeah, on Wednesdays we wear pink.
And for people who are like, I've heard that name before, Brandy Angel, it's because in episode 1 with Jamie Cotrette, we talked, and Brandy is actually one of our favorite charities that we've worked with before. And she's also worked in film projects with us after we found out about her charity.
That's right.
So it all intertwines together.
I've been dressing you guys up, and you've been dressing me up, both ways.
It's been awesome.
Yeah. Yes, it has.
And then from Stepsisters, we also put you on Life of the Party as a videographer.
Yeah, Jamie called me and was like, hey, I need a wedding photographer. That was what it was first. For a movie. Melissa McCarthy, maybe. Would you be interested? Because, I am a wedding photographer, so in real life. And I was like, sure. Why not? So I show up on the set to that, and they changed it immediately to videographer, and they made it a much bigger role. I get there not knowing anything.
This is your first day on set, so you don't even know what's happening.
Ever. Right. I don't know how these, I'm asking around, what happens, what do we do, blah, blah, blah. And I was sitting down for hair, and they're like, we need Brandy Angel right now. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, that's me. And they put me on my own bus, and they take me to set, and they're like, have you in here with the cast. We'll let you know when we're getting ready to start. And I'm like, dying. Like, I have no idea. I'm sitting there with the full cast. And I'm like, I'm just going to be quiet, just like JV said, and I'm going to listen to do exactly what they tell me to do. It was an intense day. It was amazing. I was just mesmerized the whole time.
And one of the things that I love about that scene is at the very tail end, after, spoiler alert, and this movie's been out for a couple of years now, so hopefully you've seen it by now. If you haven't, I'm going to spoil a little bit for you. But during this wedding, in the room across from it, there's a wedding reception, at which point there's a group of gals that destroy this wedding reception that everyone's about to go to. And they're literally like swinging from chandeliers and jumping on the tables and everything else. But as everyone's about to leave, you are still videoing and photographing the entire event. So as like people are walking out covered in cake, you're like, quick photo, quick video.
That's right. Well, what was so crazy about it, you don't realize, especially I didn't realize because I'd never been on a set before. Like, you know, it was an 11-hour day filming those 2 scenes. And the hardest part for me was not to laugh because she was so funny. Like, she would go on rants, like, and they'd film it over and over and over to take the pieces they wanted. And you have to sit there and look serious, or, you know, that my role was to be serious. But she was so funny. Like, I was like, God, I wish they had used this part that she said, you know, like, but it was amazing. And to be like Melissa McCarthy going, hey, Brandy, can you move your head to the left a little? Yes, Melissa McCarthy, I can do that. Everybody was so nice and talked to me and, like, wanted to know who I was. And, like, as soon as you're like, what's your name? Brandy Angel. They're like, oh, is that your stage name? No, it's my real one. Everyone, the directors.
The director, her husband, the director.
Yeah, but, like, they were just talking to me, like, wanting to know who you were. It just was, I don't know, it wasn't what I expected. It was just amazing.
Very surreal.
It was very surreal and very hot.
And I'm curious, because I never made it to set during that movie, except to check people in, so I never actually got to see them filming anything. Do they do a lot of improv in her movies, or does she stay strictly to the script?
She just literally goes off on what she wants to on tangents, because she's so just naturally funny. That's
what I kind of figured. She seems like a very good at improv kind of actress.
Oh, it was amazing. It was, I just thought that was the best part of it, was to be able to listen to her just go. And what she would come up with from each take to the next, it was just impressive. I was like, that's who she is in real life. Her character, she's just that funny and that nice, and it was a great experience. But like I said, it was really hot. They put me in a full polyester dress, which was really pretty. But, like, the jacket wouldn't even come off because it was sewn in.
Oh, wow.
These are Hollywood problems you don't expect. But so it was so hot, and I just kept thinking, don't you pass out, don't you pass out. Because I'm also holding this really heavy video camera for 11 hours. I had to be my own stand-in because they had changed the character that day. So I was standing there. Jamie loves the fact that at dinner break, you know, at like 7 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock, what I did was I went upstairs and took the dress off and laid in the porcelain tub just to cool off. I was so hot. And I told her, she's like, that is hilarious. The best part about that, though, is at the end, I was so hot and tired that I just wanted to walk to my car instead of waiting for the bus because it was literally across the street.
Yeah.
And a van stops and is like, you don't need to walk, get in. And it was just this guy being driven over. And he's like asking me about it. And I'm like, it was my first time on set. And he's like, what'd you think? I was like, amazing. I was mesmerized by the cameras and everything. I told him I was, you know, a real photographer. And I was like, but it was hot. And then I tell him the story of cooling off in the bathroom. And he laughs. He just laughs at me. He goes, I like you. And I'm like, thank you. And I get out of the car and I'm telling Jamie about it. She's like, oh my God, Brittany, that was the executive producer of the movie. I was like, we're old friends now. Now he knows about me cooling off in a porcelain tub.
That is amazing. I didn't even know that part of the story.
Yeah.
I love that.
It was a great day. Yeah. Jamie's like, only you, Brandy, would this all happen to on set. She's like, this is not typical. I'm like, okay.
And you had another not so typical day working on a project that is about to come out while we're recording this, but will probably be out by the time this airs
Oh, yeah.
in a movie called Palms. Yes.
Oh, my God, it looks so good.
And you got to work with your daughters, too.
Yeah. Well, they actually were in Stepsisters, too, but with Palms, they're a little bit older, and when we were walking up, the school was in the middle of nowhere where they were shooting. And I just had told them basically it was about cheerleaders. I didn't really explain too much. And this woman walks right past us, and she just stops, and she's like, "Hey, girls, you look absolutely adorable." And I just kind of stood there, and I'm like, "Thank you." And she gets into her trailer, and we walk away. And Alora, my oldest, she's 11, she's like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "Diane freaking Keaton, like the star of the movie." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know. She's a cheerleader?" Well, she plays one in the movies. And then we get inside, and Rhea Perlman walks by, and she's like, "Hey, girls, you look so cute." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." And Alora goes, "Is she famous too?" I go, "Hello, Madeline, the movie, you love it, the mean mommy." And they're like, "Oh my gosh." They're like starstruck over the mean mommy. It's funny how you connect with your kids over who actresses are from my time period to theirs.
Yeah, I was going to say, they probably don't know Cheers.
No, they don't. They should.
They will eventually. I mean,
they will eventually.
That's such a good
and they'll
show.
Be like, "That lady was so nice." Like, everyone was so nice on that set. When I also did that Dr. Dre commercial, Beats by Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
At the Georgia Dome right before they imploded it, which was really cool. But it was with Cam Newton, and I played an NFL official. How funny is that? Like, in a black suit. And he walks in, and he's like, "Hey, what are you playing?" I was like, "An NFL official." He's like, "I've never seen an NFL official look like you." And I'm like, "They should." But, they're people too.
Yeah. And I know that they've gotten a lot more female announcers lately, which I think is
That's
great.
Right. I'm like, they should have more female. Yeah, exactly.
And
that was awesome too. Speaking of, another story from that, as I walk onto the Georgia Dome, I see a kid sitting in a chair, and it's one of the kids from my foundation that we did pictures of.
Wow.
How crazy is that? It was Henry. Like, I was like, his mom, she's like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "What are you doing here?" But they were going to be part of the commercial, but that part ended up getting cut. But the best part was Cam was throwing the football with all of us for a while, and he kept saying, "If you catch it, you get $100." And he threw it to Henry, and he caught it, and he got $100 from Cam Newton. So,
oh wow,
he may not have made the commercial, but he had a pretty awesome story.
And it's almost like, do I want to keep this $100 bill because I got it from Cam Newton, or do I spend it on something?
He was so nice. I mean, I've just, I guess, been really lucky. Everyone I've met has been so incredibly nice.
And you also have your fundraiser, which we talked about a little bit, which I talked about with Jamie on her episode. Tell us a little bit about the Brandy Angel Foundation and what you do with that.
We help individuals and families that are going through difficult times, and we help them get their story out there, no matter what it may be, whatever their need may be. We've helped people find kidneys. We've helped people whose house burned down. It's really kind of getting their story out there in the media and social media, so that people that want to help can help them. But we also, as you know, dress up as princesses and superheroes and go to the hospitals and have craft parties with the kids. But we also do, as you know, that you've been involved in, I call them fantasy shoots for the kids, where we made Superman fly, and we had all the stuntmen just come together. We kind of bring a little magic into their lives any way we can. I mean, we even have iFly in Atlanta that allows them all to go there and fly for free.
Wow.
So, I mean, we just have a lot of connections of really amazing people who want to help people that need it.
And where can people find more information about what you're looking for and what you're currently doing and what you've done before?
Well, our current project is the Fox Family Home Build. We have a girl that we met when she was 9 years old and who was given 6 months to live. She had 2 brain tumors, and right now she's 13 and is in remission, and which is amazing. But her family has been struggling since her diagnosis, because something that's been happening that people don't really realize when it comes to medical debt, it's changed. And it is something that counts against you on your credit. it's something you can't get relief from. You can't file bankruptcy. You're stuck with it.
Wow.
And when she's 18, she's stuck with it. And they've been stuck in the apartment they moved into since she was diagnosed because her mother had to. She's given 6 months to live. What do you do? But now they can't even rent a house. But her dad has a great job. He has great insurance. But they're at this point with all the treatments post cancer, they're in debt to $600,000.
Wow.
And it's just growing. It'll continue to grow. And so I did a long time trying to find programs and stuff for them. And they made too much money. They weren't poor enough to get the help. And finally I was like, well, we'll build her a house.
That's crazy.
Like, I know anything about it. So the director of Habitat for Humanity offered to join our foundation and build it for us once we raised the funding. And we have bought the land, which is a little over 2 acres, and we broke ground this Saturday. And we have $20,000 of our $70,000 goal. So we just have to raise some more and get this house built for her, and get her out of that moldy little apartment.
And how do people donate if they want to donate to it and help you out?
They can go to the website. It's BeTheChangeBAF.com. But we're also on Facebook, Be the Change Brandy Angel Foundation. We're on Instagram. It's Be the Change BAF. It's a really long name, I know.
But it's worth it.
It is. And so you can go on there and follow the story, and it tells you how you can donate or get involved, how to help us. You can even get involved and come dress up with us at the hospitals. Whatever it is that you want to do to give back, we hope that we can give somebody that avenue to do it.
And then
I think it's amazing how many adults, including yourself, that love to dress up and go make magic happen for kids. I think that's all of our favorite part.
I have to say it is one of my favorite parts.
It is.
The princess parties and the superhero parties, and
it's the best. I just love being able to see that they have a moment of not thinking about what's weighing so heavy on them, just giving them that memory in that day and so many people want to do that. And I guess that's kind of what we do. We connect people. We connect them to the stories, and we connect them with each other.
And it's a way that we can all give back. Yeah.
Yeah, how you can help that. Because there's so many people that I've found that want to do that.
Yeah, because some people, they help financially, some people will get involved, some people will support, some people will help find people that will help support. And everybody can help no matter what. You can go on Facebook and just sharing your posts
the whole thing
can
is,
help.
I just, I started it for the one thing that has always been very big in my heart is I want to treat other people like I want to be treated. That can be me one day, and I hope that someone does the same for me and my family.
Yeah.
I just believe so much into putting out there what you want to come back for yourself.
I'm about to cry.
Don't do it. Yeah, it's been kind of a rough week in the Be the Change world.
Yeah. Totally understand. But it's
there's a lot of sadness that comes with it, but there's a lot of joy. So
yeah, I was gonna say there's a lot of happiness and keep pushing through, and life has its ups, it has its downs, and and there will always be more ups.
Yeah,
there's more ups coming.
I'm just honored to be able to be a part of it.
And so how can people find you on other social medias, like your photography and anything else that you'd want to plug?
Yeah, it's Brandy Angel Photography. It's my website, and that's my Facebook page. That's my Instagram page. Twitter, it's AngelPhoto1, the number 1. Venmo, I'm at Brandy/Angel. It's pretty easy to find me once you know my name. That's why I put it in the name of the foundation. That way it's all connected and easily find it.
And thank you all for listening again. This has been a wonderful episode. We will be back again next week with a full episode of the Above Average Joe Show. And we will see y'all next week. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thank you again to our special guest, Brandy Angel. Be sure to check out our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitters. You can also catch this podcast on Spotify, Stitcher, and iTunes. And check out another podcast I co-host, The Extraordinary, and some other great media content by Moon Possum Productions on moonpossum.com.